that probably took a pretty severe hit. Do you see what I see? It's just so bent. Hi everybody, welcome to Roots Bikes. This is a 80s Peugeot Iseran. This bike was found by the railroad tracks. A friend of mine alerted me to it. Looks like it was left out in the weather for probably over a year, maybe a year. Lots of rust. The frame itself is damaged, as you'll see later on. It's really cool how this cable stop is built in there. Yeah, so with the bike being left out in the elements, a lot of bolts are rusted. The other side is moving. I was really worried about the seat. It was slammed all the way down. Oh, it's moving. But as you can see, it came off nicely. The bike came with 27-inch wheels. They're in pretty good shape. The tires are in pretty bad shape. But this derailleur is completely broken off. You can see it's just hanging there on the chain. I'm going to swap out these 27-inch wheels for some 700C wheels just to see if I can squeeze them in. I'm not a big fan of skinny tires. Breaking the chain. Yeah, it looks like this bike was in an accident. This derailleur just completely sheared off of the bike. This could have been catastrophic for the rider. I hope it wasn't being ridden when this happened. This is just damaged. You can see that this is just scraped to heck. That probably took a pretty severe hit. Look at that limit screw. Valve stems are completely sideways. Again, probably not because someone was riding it, but probably because it was being dragged. You may remember these 700C wheels from a previous build. But it goes in. Here I'm noticing that the wheel is not quite rolling in the center of the frame, foreshadowing what's to come. This is already off. Oh my god. Now I'm continuing with the rest of the disassembly, taking off the brakes. I'm going to reuse this one later on, you'll see. This crank is rolling pretty good, but you'll see later it's actually pretty dry. Okay. These pedals, however, they're pretty stuck on. I don't think I'm going to get them off with my tool. I'll probably have to put them in a vise at some point. The front derailleur is in pretty good shape. Just a little bit of surface rust. I think I could reuse this. See what we're dealing with down here. Very cool. Drive side came off real nice and easy. The non-drive side provided a little bit of resistance, but nothing a little WD-40 and a larger wrench couldn't take care of. You'll see this bike actually has the "Bike's Not Bombed" sticker, which makes me think it was built there. Maybe given to somebody, and that's why it was just abandoned and they didn't care to salvage it. I'm not sure. It sounds dry as bone in there. The frame has a noticeable misalignment in it, and so here I am checking the frame alignment. So 35 on this side, 30 on this side. It's about 5 millimeters off. Oh my god, this frame is so crooked. I mean, you can see here, even. You can't see, but trust me, it's there. How is that gonna bend back into shape? It's just so bent. I think this frame is trash, but let's just try something. Okay. Do you see what I see? The sun is bent too far that way. And I can see it actually. I can actually see it. So I've never tried to bend the frame before. I've watched videos on it. This is a still frame, so it should be bendable. Should be able to get it back into shape. I've never seen a video with a Mixte frame, so I wasn't sure because there's two rear triangles if I should be going in the upper or the lower. So I kind of just vary between the lower triangle and the upper rear triangle and just bend those back or apply pressure to those just to bend them into better alignment. It's pretty much just trial and error, bend a little bit, measure, bend a little bit, measure, and then again getting into that lower rear triangle and then that upper rear triangle again, just so I don't end up putting some kind of weird torque on the rear triangle. I think that side came in a little bit. I think the other side did nothing. Yeah, that's like at 30 now. That's like at 32. So we're definitely... I'm pushing the frame against my body here, so I grabbed the pillow just to give myself a little bit more padding than my body provides. That's at 130 here. I mean 30, and that's at 30 there. Okay. Now our spacing is... I think it's worked out. Only time will tell, of course. I'm gonna disassemble the cockpit now. I got to take these grips off. They've been out in the elements, and so they're pretty gummed up. I could have just cut them off, but I thought maybe I could try to reuse them. So I'm using WD-40 here to try to get them off. I really dislike taking grips off of bikes, and so whenever I can, I use lock-on grips to avoid this. But this one I was struggling with this one. If you have any tips on how to remove these more efficiently, let me know in the comments. Ooh, I think that's it. Yeah. I'm pretty much just using my body weight now. Oh yeah, and that's coming. There it goes. I think that's a 1 inch. I think this one would actually have worked on it with drop bars, but I don't think we want to drop it. So let's see. This is very similar to what's on there, but we don't want that either. What is this one? Yeah, 22.2, so that's correct for a 1 inch fork. Could get up a little bit higher and a little bit closer. So this is my first time trying to get this stem off. I was worried it might be seized. It came off, but is it seized or not? It feels seized. Yeah, it feels seized. Busting out the big stick to hold the fork so I could apply some torque to the handlebar without rotating the fork, and that seemed to do the trick. Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Oh yeah, look at that. That is crusty. Wow. Brush for this, don't we? Yeah, this is all gonna get cleaned up, don't worry. You'll see later on that I do clean the stem properly. I just wanted to get it in here just to see how it looked to make sure this was the right stem for this build. These are minnow bar that I got in Texas. I've been trying to find a build for these bars. I like them a lot, but they're often too narrow for most builds. So I'm gonna give them a go on this to see how they feel. You'll see later on they end up changing them out. It's a bicycle. Oh, maybe I can put my Peugeot crank on here. Yes. Okay. Peugeot crank, single speed brakes, and then it's done. You may remember this Peugeot bike from a previous, this Peugeot crank from a previous build. I think it's the same BCD. It's got this 122 BCD. We can run this one, which looks like a 42. And this or this one on this one, which would be amazing. I couldn't get any purchase on this headset nut, so I decided just to leave it as is for now, and I'm going to clean up the bike and the steer tube. See how far that goes. Oh, that's not very deep at all, actually. Knocking off some of the bad rust spots with a little bit of sandpaper. After knocking off some of the rust, I'm also applying some rust converter to the rust spots. There's quite a bit of rusty spots. One more clean of the steer tube just to get rid of any gunk that may have built up that was causing the stem to seize. And us reassembling this now with the straightened rear triangle. Test fitting the Peugeot crank with a larger chainring. Okay. I'm sizing a chain, single speed chain now for this. Okay. Trying to get some good tension on that chain just to make sure that I can actually pedal this and it's not showing the same asymmetry that it was showing before. Putting on some pedals. And now cleaning the stem, getting rid of that rust buildup that I had seen on there, that you had seen on there earlier, and applying some fresh grease to the steer tube and to the stem. Reusing the brake cable here because I want to get this bike on the road just so I could make sure that my frame alignment went well and that I'm not wasting my time. Because of the 700C conversion, I have to change the location of the brake pads, lower them just a little bit. This is the seat that was on the bike in the Elements. So I found out later on that it is completely soaked with water still. And that's not a pleasant experience. This would be easier if I had my 10. Where's my 10? Let's just look for my 10. I was just using my 10mm wrench. I had no idea where it went to. And I spent way too long looking for it, only to find out. God dang it, it's in my pocket. That it was in my pocket the whole time. So I sat in this seat to adjust the height, and my sweats are completely drenched now. So I'm definitely taking off that rear seat. These handlebars feel a little bit too narrow for the ride. Putting on these wider sweat back handlebars and a different saddle on here. I got these snafu grips from a bike in Texas. I think the red really complements the frame. There's no red on the frame, but I think this red goes well with the yellow and orange. That looks sharp. Yeah, the brake does nothing. Oh yeah, my butt's getting wet now. Had these in Evaporust. I soaked the rusty nuts and bolts in Evaporust overnight, and now I'm cleaning them out and trying to remember what goes where, which is harder than it looks because a lot of these parts are very similar in size. Now that I've taken it for a test drive, I'm going to complete the build. I'm putting on the rear brake here. I just happen to have some red brake cables in my parts bin. And again, I think this red is a really good complementary color for the bike frame. Sizing the cables and cabling it up.
Goes like there.
The pinch bolt was experiencing a lot of friction.
Oh man, it does not want to go.
I could see the surface was marred by the cable, so I'm gonna just file out a little bit of the surface just to ease the pinch bolt insertion.
Oh yeah, much better.
Originally built this wheel for a narrower road rear dropout width, and so I need to add a spacer into the wheel so it can sit better in this frame.
Okay, there we go. Loosen this up.
Adding a spacer to this side and adding 2 spacers to this side and 1 to the other side.
Hard to get it.
Didn't quite get me where I needed to be, so I'm going to have to do that again and move this a little bit to the non-drive side.
That wheel is centered.
Now I'm trying to measure the chain line so I could figure out where to put these spacers. This single speed conversion kit is from Cycling Deal. I had somebody ask me about where I got that before. It comes with the spacers and with the single cog. I think this one is a 16 tooth. Now I'm going to try to tension the chain appropriately.
Pretty good right there, so I'm just gonna...
If you've ever tried to do this, it's a trial and error because as you tighten the bolts, the rear wheel will try to move a little bit. And so when you have perfect tension when you're tightening it...
Okay. That's too tight now. Okay. So easy.
You'll find that it's too tight and you'll have to back off and then just switch back and forth between the 2 sides until you get a good chain tension and a straight wheel.
Chain tension feels good.
Trial and error will get you there. Once you do get a straight wheel and pretty good chain tension, then I usually just go real ham on these.
Whoa, I see it slipping. Okay. Slipping.
I didn't set up my bike stand to do this, so the rest of this footage is pretty terrible. Very zoomed in, and I was completely oblivious to what was actually being recorded. So I have 20 minutes of my hairy arms doing things. I will spare you the 20 minutes of hairy arms and just let you know that what I'm doing now is just fixing the brakes, fixing the brake cables, and tightening everything up on the cockpit. You'll see here that there's a curve in the tube there that goes to the back. That's not supposed to be curved. That's supposed to be straight. I did manage to get this orange anodized cable tip in footage, and so you can watch that. Here's the build. I think it came out really good. I really like this bike. It's really fun to ride. It's got a very upright riding posture and it rolls pretty fast with these wheels. Here I'm taking it to the local bakery in Cambridge, giving it a little shake test ride. This was taken about a month ago, but I just got around to putting together the audio. You can see that the bakery has a little plastics igloo for outdoor seating. Later that day it warmed up a little bit more and I took it for another spin, going to meet some friends at a pub. This bike gives total pub bike vibes, and so I think it's going to become a regular rotation and it'll be my pub bike. This car should have stopped and waited for me, but they did not. I think that was a jerk move. What do you think? Let me know in the comments. I was going to give him an earful, but I decided not to. This is Mass Ave now, heading past some restaurants and shops, over to Cambridge Commons, which is just to the left there. Thanks for watching. If you want to see more, like and subscribe. And as always,
Thanks for riding along.